What up, guys? We are live, and we will be doing a QA today. Thank you guys for all the things you guys have done. We recently crossed 1 million views. We're almost at 1.1 now. So it's been a fun ride. I want to talk about a few things and thank the people who have been here since the beginning, or just the new people, man. The people that either they comment nicely or they comment fucking nastily. We look at those two. I when we first started this, it was just me, Thomas, and Cody. So we've changed a lot over the time. I really want to thank Thomas for real because, like, man, we set out on this, man, and this is crazy. I don't think we thought we'd get here, did we, Thomas? I think it was almost like a fantasy. We almost had like a fantasy. Like a lot of times I'll say some shit to Thomas, and I don't even know if I fucking believe it sometimes, but it fucking happens. But yeah, I want to thank like all the people like Thomas, Shelly, PC, Zara, Jess, our moderators, Joe Jingen, fucking Nymeria. Fuck, am I missing people? God, you guys got I got a few moderators here. I'm probably missing here. Mason, he does like,
Avery.
Avery. Oh shit, I almost fucking forgot Avery. I'm slipping.
Damn,
I'm slipping
that
today.
would have been
Your SI
bad.
is failing you.
Should have wrote some pre.
What the
Should
fuck?
have
Let
got
me
some
go back
notes
his
prior.
online. Let me see.
Holy
Shit.
shit!
We got Ti Daddy. He's one of the ENTPs. Obviously, we got Zara. We already shout out Zara. We got Sigma Duck. Yeah, so we got all those guys as well. Like they help us in our community grow. We crossed 1,000 members recently, so shout out to that. That was a big milestone for us as well. Today we'll just be talking about what we've learned over the course of time from typing people. What do we think is the best method going forward? What do we think people get right? What do people get wrong? We'll answer any of your questions. Yeah, we got Dario
Dr. Zario.
Dr. Zario. How are you, Common Man? What's up? So we'll talk about what our plans are for the future. What do I want to tackle? And then what do I think that we may be evolving to do, like other systems. If you haven't noticed, like when me and Thomas first started, it was just completely tight, right? It was completely MBTI, eight function models, Linda Barron's, and then we went on to do other things like enneagram and then subtype. So we'll be talking about, maybe we may add another thing to it. I know we got a lot of guides to get out for this, so you guys gotta hold on with the guides because it takes me a long time to do these guides because I'm not trying to do these guides multiple times. I'm not trying to fucking get on here and then have to retract a whole bunch of shit. So I take a lot of time to do those and put those together, but eventually we will get to those. Me and Thomas, we're supposed to be doing the ESFJ. We've had that one done for a while. We just haven't done it. But we'll also roll out how we type using Enneagram as well. I think that'd be very helpful for the community. It's almost a very simpler, a very system that's almost like the same as like the type grid almost. Like what are you looking for, and how can you notice it? So we'll be rolling that out in the future. But like I said, it takes us time to do that. YouTube is not my fucking job. Okay, this is something I do for fun. Thomas, anything you want to say, man? Since you've been here since day one, man.
Um, Not really.
Thomas is a man of few words, man. Thomas is a man of few words. Zara, anything you want to say, man?
Once we have a subject to talk about, I'll talk. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, thanks to all the fans out there, even the ones that aren't so friendly to me. Uh, yeah, I think it's been a interesting ride. It's been fun. Mm,
All
yeah, I
right.
don't have much. Yeah.
So, like, guys, you guys can drop questions and we will address them. But if you guys, let me see if there's any questions as of right now. You guys
Yeah,
can drop
they're
questions.
asking what's wrong with my face. I'm not sure.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure whether that's my lack of expressiveness or something else. But my face is my face.
No. Yeah.
All right, so we will. take any questions if you guys got any questions at the moment. If not, I'll just keep talking about things I've learned. So when we first started, I think we had a more narrow view of type. And I do think that as we've interviewed people, because at this point, I think we're close to maybe close to 300, close to around 250 to 300 between those numbers from like real people we've typed on the channel. Um, and we've had over 300, I think it's probably over 400 at this point.
What, celebrities?
Celebrities, probably more than that.
Yeah.
We've typed as well. So like, as you start something, obviously you get better, and your brain gets more nuanced on what you see. I think like some of the biggest mistypes we did have at the beginning was like people like Kobe Bryant. Okay, Kobe Bryant was he actually made me think about something differently from the perspective of a red flag. Like there's certain things that me and Thomas have noticed over time where it's like, okay, if you're typing somebody this, you might want to look at these red flags that you're getting. Because if you're getting enough of these red flags, then most likely it's wrong. And for Kobe Bryant, it was like this guy has NI better than 99.9% of INTJs, right? An ISFP with NI better than 99.9% of INTJs. That can't be right.
Yeah.
That can't be right, right? That just cannot be right. That is a huge, humongous red flag, all right? That's just something like, I don't think me and Thomas have like kind of thought about putting it like in a concrete way. It's just something like we kind of intuitively know, but I think maybe in the future we can talk about that. But that is one of the things that I've noticed as well as typing. I think when I first started, I was kind of like a lot of people that first start, man. Like you try to force metrics a lot of times, and I think if you try to force metrics, you're gonna get it wrong. Like you're just gonna get it fucking wrong. Like if you're sitting there like stuck on is this person direct, informative, it's like, yo, just move on to another metric. Like you got several other metrics, right? Just let them come to you. I don't care what the person is. They usually will give you certain things in abundance, right? They will give you in abundance. Like if you're listening to a person, it's like, oh shit, like this person's overly direct, or oh my god, like this person's overly informative, or this person's like super systematic. Like they're going to give you certain in abundance, and what you really want to do is you want to take those and take them to the chart immediately, and then eliminate down, because it only takes one bad metric for you to get it wrong. And that's what people don't really talk about. It's like it
Yeah.
only takes one one metric wrong to get it wrong.
Well, and it's really those people with like the abnormal development that are really tricky. Like when we were typing J Cole, like some like he's an ENTP, but his TI is fucking garbage. Like his TI was such garbage that it's like maybe he's an FI user, because it's like, I think we probably spent like a half hour looking at him. It's like I know he's an ENTP, but it's like it's not always easy to find the proof for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you kind of have to look beyond the metrics, and you need to be able, like I knew looking at him that this is somebody who's pragmatic. And then we kind of like, we're like, okay, let's actually, you know what, he looks like Kendrick Lamar. We know Kendrick Lamar's ENTP. So sometimes you have to go beyond the metrics. And I know we had that girl recently who a lot of people don't think she's an INTJ, but she is, because they don't understand how she doesn't have normal INTJ development, or she doesn't have stereotypical INTJ development. So people are very confused about that. But you have to you can't always get hung up, you can't get locked into the metrics as they look on paper.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of times, if you're typing people, like sometimes use common sense. Common sense, like use common sense with type as well. Like that should sometimes you will get like, okay, this person's informative, this person's pragmatic, right? But I'm not seeing SC trickster. Okay, so then you know to eliminate INTP, right? You're looking at three types now. You're looking at ISFJ, ESFJ, and ENTP, right? Little things like that should like you can use common sense to eliminate type. Like let's say for instance, if you got direct, you got direct, you got systematic, and you got TE, right? But you like, damn, this person ain't physically imposing, right? Most likely you don't have an ENTJ, so you can eliminate that. You're most likely looking at an ESTJ, ISTJ, or fucking INTJ. So a lot of times you can use common sense to kind of help you with typing. It says, how does someone develop NI as well as Kobe? I actually thought about this question a lot, and I just think there's some people that just NI is stronger in them, and it's almost I've kind of thought about it lately. It's almost like a possession, and some people are just possessed with more of it than others. Um, it may help that he's also Enneagram 3, so he'll kind of
Hmm.
use it in an achievement
Yeah.
way, instead of like a philosophical way, or like science or
Philosophical.
sorry.
And unfortunately, a lot of people within typology are going to miss that because they don't understand the importance of enneagram influence.
Yeah.
So, as an INTJ 5, you can learn a lot from Kobe. You could model yourself after him, but you're not going to be possessed by NI the same way that a 3 is, especially Kobe. I mean, he's one of the best examples of an INTJ ever. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, in
Yeah.
terms of like his vision started as a child. He started planning his like training regimen as a child. Like, okay, if I train this many times a day for this many hours and I do it over this period of time, I'm eventually going to outpace everybody. That's an extraordinarily high level use of NI. That's that you'll basically never see in anybody. So no one's going to build their NI up to his level because I think it's just something that he was born with. But again, yeah, you can definitely learn a lot from him and model yourself after him. And if you watch like his speeches or Arnold Schwarzenegger's speeches, and listen to how they explain like their life path and so on and so forth, it's definitely very useful, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're like an INTJ, I would highly recommend like for me, if I go to the gym, a lot of times if I not feel like, man, maybe I'm losing my focus, or like maybe I'm not like dialed in like I should be, or like maybe I'm just drifting, right? I'll play Arnold Schwarzenegger's motivational speeches, and I'll just play them over and fucking over, man, and it just like refocuses me back onto what I'm trying to do, or what I'm like, or what I'm after, or you put on Kobe, whatever one. I think it supercharges NI. They make you, think about like this is where I want to go, and this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. Okay, so I think that's also important. What did some say? When Thomas was talking about Enneagram, like before when we first started, like we weren't incorporating Enneagram, but then we see like there's a lot of power to what Enneagram does, man. And I think what we've noticed lately is that there seems to be one enneagram that seems to struggle with the inferior function, and the other enneagram that seems to like do a little bit better with the inferior function. Like for instance, if we were to take INTJs, threes tend to be more. I mean, I think they easily adapt to SC inferior, but the FI takes a little hit, while like the INTJ fives, they seem to struggle a little bit more with SC inferior, but I think in general they tend to have a better understanding of who they are as a person. While like threes a lot of times can associate a type of achievement with their FI.
Hmm.
So it's like even if you were to take an INTP 5 versus an INTP 9, the INTP 9 is going to have an easier time with FE inferior because of the nine's ability to harmonize with people, right? And take into account other people, while the 5 is going to struggle with FE inferior a lot more. So that's just like certain things that we've learned throughout the way of learning type and stuff like that. And I think it's important to consider. Let's see, we got it says, what is U-Box, MBTI, and Enneagram? U-Box from Bleach, he's an INTJ, bro. INTJ supervillain, bro. At the end of any series, it's always most likely if it's a shonen, it's an INTJ supervillain, bro. It's 3W4, SO, SP. I was just curious to know, and the question in my brain was, is there any chance, a possibility that an ENTJ woman like an ISFP male? I think when you're talking about compatibility, there's so many different things that go into play. Um, I think um, anybody can like anybody because there's a surface level attraction that people have to someone, right? Also, depending on what has the ISFP achieved in his life, right? There's so many different facets when it comes to that. Like Maybe this ISFP is a music artist. Maybe he's super successful. Like that's gonna make a TE user more attracted to you, right? When they see everybody else following you, they see like everybody else likes you because they're checking popularity and stuff like that. They're gonna be more inclined to like that person, right? So it depends on what type of ISFP you're talking about. Do I think that there's going to be problems in that relationship? Obviously, because ETJs can like be too like you got to get on my page or you got to go type people, and they really hate laziness. While
I
also,
was, I was going to say that the thing about ISFPs is that a lot of them they're very slothful, and at least in my experience, they're not like productive, get shit done kind of people. And ENTJ women, I think, even though even though they are like probably the most masculine type as a woman,
hmm
um, I just don't know that they would respect a man who's not able to get shit done better than they can, because that's
hmm
just what women generally expect.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I think yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's got to be tough for ENTJ women, just because of, like, my mother's an ENTJ woman, and the thing is she can get shit done better than most men. So it's got to be challenging because of societal expectations, that men handle shit. Well, the thing is she handles shit better than most men can. So it's yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Yeah, I think what Thomas hitting on here is that in general, NTJ women usually are like, a step above even most men.
Uh huh.
But
Yep.
they always want somebody to look up to, right?
Yeah.
Because they still want to be in a feminine role. But if they can't look up to you, you're in a world of hurt, bro. Like, you're in a world of hurt. But can that relationship work? Yes, it can. It all depends on a multitude of factors. Also, like where's the ENTJ in their life? Um, because a lot of times, with being in different phases of your life, you might require different needs. Um, can an INTJ mentality philosophy work for a different type who is just as ambitious, if not more? Okay, Sad. Sad's coming in with a good one. I think I'll let one of the other people, Thomas or Zara, go for it.
I think that you can you can kind of duplicate some aspects, but I think of course you're gonna have to put it through your own lens. Obviously, I mean I don't think it's like your NIs, if you especially if you're a different type, may not be as strong. So depending on the strength of that, it will be variable. So I still think like I of course you can take away certain principles from them. Sure, you if you were to like look at the life of any INTJ, I guess if you wanted to be like Kobe, like we were just talking about, yeah, you can duplicate like his perseverance, hard work, try to build up your willpower or resilience. But I don't know if you can fully duplicate it. But I guess like yeah, I guess why not learn from other people? You probably can learn from any type. I mean, shit, you probably could even learn from an ENTP on how to make their life, which is crazy enough.
Well, I don't. Maybe not. I don't.
There's some of them, at least some of them.
Lords of Dunning Krugers. Um,
Lord of Dunning Kruger, true. I'm just saying.
Thomas, anything?
It's tricky because, I mean, let me just. You can an INTJ mentality work for a different type who is just as ambitious, if not more. Um, I mean, yes, it's not going to be the same though, because the thing is with an INTJ, like specifically thing about an INTJ Enneagram 3 is that they become possessed by their vision. So can another type try to emulate that? I guess it's not going to be exactly the same. But
No,
I think yeah, a lot of types will probably struggle with that a lot. Like if you're like an SJ, you're not trying to focus on your own future and executing a plan. That's probably not going to be work well for you. Or if you're like an Enneagram 7 ENTP or something, yeah, it's probably going to be difficult for you to do that because you want to fucking try everything. Um, you don't that's why a lot of them don't do shit with their lives, because they want to, oh, let me try this, let me try this. They can't pick a path and stick with it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, you could try to model yourself off of somebody else, but I don't know, I don't really think it's going to work for a lot of people. Even, I mean,
no.
honestly, for a lot of INTJs, it's not even going to work, because I think more than people realize that a lot of INTJs struggle with either with a vision or just picking a path and seeing it through, because yeah, they can talk themselves out of things because they see how
Like,
things can go wrong. They see how much work is involved in pursuing a
Yeah.
particular path, or they see like, okay, well, maybe I want to do this, but oh shit, we're heading into a fucking AI surveillance state, and maybe this job's not going to be around in fucking 2 or 3 years. That kind, like, that
Yeah.
any nemesis kind of shit. So it's
Yeah.
easier said than done, I think.
yeah.
But just to add a little more, I think while I basically agree with what he said, I for the most part I don't think you can fully duplicate it. But I mean, even amongst INTJs themselves, I don't think we can always duplicate other INTJs' road to success. Everyone's got their own raison d'etre or higher purpose, and you gotta find what is yours in a way. It's not very easy to do. You gotta find your own guiding light,
Yeah.
your own
So,
north star.
Brad, I'm gonna answer it. I think if you're trying to follow like certain types, you kind of want to look at certain things that you can take away. I think for the INTJs, they usually leave a system that's dummy proof, right? So
Yeah,
like
like Kobe.
you, yeah, like you want to look for because they model things so simply because they're SC inferior, that anybody can basically do it, right? It's not like, oh my God, you got to be LeBron James for this shit to work, right? They usually will give you a system that, like, anybody can implement or do, right? Just like what Kobe said, like, most people training 2 times a day. If I train 4 times a day over the course of 5 years, they can't fucking touch me, right? And that's something you want to take away with INTJs. What I have learned with type over time is that I used to look at people and I like, especially like my best friend, she's an INFP, right? And she would say, "This really hurts me," right? And I would look at it and be like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" Right? The same aspect applies for INTJ's vision, right? Or what they're synthesizing, or trying to create, or whatever you want to call it. Um, they have this feeling that's 100x to that than a normal person would have. So that's going to be harder to realize, right? My best friend is saying this hurts me because her FI makes her feel things 100x where I would fucking feel it. So that's also something you want to put in perspective. That, like, when it's a hero function and things like that, people really feel it a lot more than another person. Like, you're wondering why the INTJ is consumed with their vision is because they're feeling it like at an extreme level. Like, why you think the ENTP's got to fucking run off next to any squirrel or any acorn that fucking drops? Because the NE, they're so sensitive to the NE. So I think that that's important to notice as well. But I think any type can teach you um, what you can, like, certain things you can do, but you also got to remember like your tools is a little bit different. I think maybe motivation aspects can help, but I do think the best way to like get to the next level is to kind of look at your opposite type, right? Sometimes if you're an INTJ, you want to look at ENTJs, right? See what they got going on, right? And I think that can help you a lot. If you're an INFP, I think you should look at ENFPs, right? What they got going on, right? I think it'd be easier to like kind of take a nugget or two from them to make yourself better. They said, Thomas, Zara, Mercer, what are your parents type? My mom actually thought she was a certain type, and then recently I've discovered that my mom's actually an INTJ. So Thomas, and I don't know who my dad is, so that can't help you there. But maybe Thomas and Zara can drop what they think their parents are.
But well, my father was an ISTJ. My mother's ENTJ. Um, yeah, pretty obvious. I think.
How does that
Um,
dynamic work, Thomas?
huh? How did
How did,
what?
how did that dynamic work? ENTJ, ISTJ, just curious.
Oh, I don't. Well, I mean, they divorced when I was like before I was 5, so
Oh,
I
shit.
guess it didn't work too well. But I don't really look at it as a type thing per se. I just think they got together when they were kind of young, and um, my mother changed, my father didn't change. Kind of one of those things where he wasn't really doing the right thing. But yeah, I don't know that there's really any much I want to say about that. I mean, ENT, like, maybe not. Well, my mother was younger, like before I was born, I don't think she was really settled into like where she is now, where she's over time she's kind of like become more dominant, more take charge, more like I have to get shit done.
Hmm.
I'm thinking when she met my father, she probably wasn't like that as much. She probably let him handle things.
Hmm.
But I think I was born when she was 25, so I think from around that time, I think she started to kind of like um, take a more dominant role and whatnot. And like I said, my father, he just wasn't really doing what he should have been doing, so that didn't work out. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. That's just it's the fate of a lot of marriages,
Hmm.
in America, in a lot of parts of the world.
Yeah, yeah, I do think like what you're talking about there is like for an ENTJ woman, they struggle with that identity, with like being a woman or just being like fucking strong, and then like usually over time, like when they get older, just like fuck it, I just got to be me.
Yeah,
Then they're like, okay,
yeah.
I'm taking charge of everything.
So yeah, like I said, I think when she was younger, she probably felt like she had to be something different. Because you have to remember these. My parents were baby boomers. She was growing up in the '60s and '70s, so back then societal standards were even like, they were transitioning, but kind of, but still more of like traditional gender roles were more like prominent
Hmm.
back then. And whereas now it's like you have every Enneagram 3 INTJ woman and ENTJ, like they all want to be boss bitches and all that bullshit. So. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Zara, you want to go?
Yeah, I think my mom's INFJ, my dad was probably INTJ. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we learned a lot over time with type, and we've noticed that like genetics is quite a thing, man.
Yeah.
My older sister's also an INTJ, and my brother's an ENTP. So it's like my mom is like shooting off a lot of NTs, and my older sister's an INTP, and my younger sister's an INTP. But they're both two different. One's a 9, one's a 5. One is like super jolly and happy, and the other one's mean as fuck. I mean, like mean as fuck. Like we would come into her room and she'd be throwing shit at us, like get out of my fucking room. She was crazy. Um, she's saying that all the time, but like it's kind of funny. Why some INTJs are informative and others are
that's
direct.
that's incorrect. There's
So I would say I think it depends on the INTJ. I think also direct versus informing is a sliding scale, right? So like some people are just going to be more direct than others. I do think you have to be careful with INTJs that they're not walking you through the process. What you need to understand is, are they giving me things that are open or are they giving me things that are closed, right? Informative language is generally open ended, right? While direct language is usually closed ended, okay?
Yeah,
So you really want to watch that, and because a lot of times they can be walking you through the process because they're like anal about the process of anything. So step one, step two, step three, step four, and you may be
yeah,
thinking, well, they give me so much extra information, but you got to check to make sure that like is it closed ended, and also like we said earlier, just using common fucking sense, right? Common sense. Um,
but yeah, I think the big thing probably is just people confusing progression for being informative. It's not the same. Like
mhm.
Mercer's saying, if it's closed ended, if it's all right, if it's open ended, meaning it's open to interpretation, then that's informative. There's a difference between that and going step by step by step. Um,
Mhm.
and at a beginner level, you might miss that. I think it's definitely something I struggled with, 2, 3 years ago.
Mhm. Yeah,
I know I mistyped a lot of INTJ women because I thought they were informative. Um, but once you kind of figure out that metric, it becomes pretty straightforward, I think.
yeah, yeah. And then also like if you're typing, also use other stuff to like to
Cross
verify or
reference.
cross
Yeah,
reference. Use other things to cross reference, guys. Like we have so much information on this channel. Like when it comes to like there's a lot of stuff I gotta finish. But like I said, like there's a lot of information on the channel. Like, okay, are they using strategic intelligence? Are they using logistical intelligence? Are they using tactical intelligence? Are they using diplomatic intelligence?
yeah,
What is the hero function seems to be there? Because people have no choice but to like. If you let them talk long enough, the hero will jump out, man. He'll jump out. I do think
Mhm.
for introvert. It's easier for introverted people to hide their hero because it's introverted. So you got to be careful with that. And a lot of times you might be talking to their parent function and not noticing it. So that's one thing
Mhm.
you want to be aware of. I do also think like also it depends on the INTJ's ability to communicate their NI, right?
Yeah.
Because if they can't really communicate their NI as well, then they're gonna come off a lot more informative. I think I learned that from typing Zara more than anything. That like or sometimes I think Zara he uses words that he probably could use differently to get to a point, but he has his he wants to use his words, and so like sometimes it can come off informative. It's just how it is. But like I said, like you gotta kind of check different things. And I mistype Czar, so I
Yeah.
can own it. He's got to have his $1 million words, man. But hey, man, like big ups to him, man, because he takes the time to study those words, man. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I read books.
I don't know if it's just reading books, bro. I think you actively look in the dictionary, bro. Don't play me
Well,
with that shit.
I do alongside, yeah.
He's
Sure.
such a fucking liar. All right, let's go to the next question here.
I
I just
didn't lie. I said I used the dictionary.
I just like up higher. Assad was asking, will typology ever make it mainstream? I think the simple answer is no. I don't think it'll ever be mainstream.
No.
I don't know if you guys want to comment on it, but
I mean,
I mean honestly,
that's just
I think
that's
we might
just
have already
tomfool-
passed the peak for typology. I just don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's
think
tomfoolery. It's not happening. The vast majority of people will not accept it. For the most part, especially beyond like the 16 personalities test. No,
I think
like
potentially in the future, and this I'm just gonna give off a possibility of what I can foresee is that because of AI, people are gonna lose with who they are and they're gonna need to find who they are. So they might resort to typology in the future to tell them who they are. So I could see that case for that scenario. I can see another case for scenario in like the empiricism and information and things get a lot better, and then the scientific community might acknowledge it, and if the scientific community acknowledges, then it could grow from that perspective, or it can just stay at the same length that it is. I like those other two metrics. I mean, I like the other two possibilities
one
better.
Sod, you know I'm exposing your ass, right? You're cooked.
What
Any
happened?
Oh, he says no. Well, no, I'm an INFP. Ha ha ha. I went. I'm
Oh,
exposing your ass
Yeah, yeah.
because in general people see INFPs as kind of lazy, and I was just making fun of him.
Well, I think he said, regardless of type, what are the requirements to be one of the grades according to you guys' personal framework? I think just overall bringing up your overall cognitive functions to a level that where they're not sabotaging yourself, because I think a lot of times the cognitive functions, if you're not aware of them, they can sabotage you. Just going out and doing what what's tough and getting better with it. And just for me, I think a pieces something clicked when I just noticed that everyone's view of life is correct, right? They have some merit to their view of life. Like a FI hero who wants to stay true to their morals, like that's a correct path in life, you know. A SE hero who wants to live for the day, that's a correct path in life, you know. Or any hero who just wants to constantly explore, like that's a correct path in life. And stop
For
thinking that
them.
my path was the only path. I think that helped me become a lot more humble in dealing with a lot
Well,
of other people.
there are many paths that lead to Rome, but most don't.
Yeah, so I think for me that helped me realize that like everyone's view of life is valid, and not just my view of life. And I think when you realize that, you're more cognitive to listen to other people. Like you'll sit down and you will listen to an ISFP or an INFP instead of saying this motherfucker with all his fucking feelings and shit. They didn't take that shit and kick that shit out the door. you're more likely to listen to it, and then you can take those things that they've done and learned, and maybe you can put it in yourself, right? It's the same thing with NE, like being around ENTPs and ENFPs. It let me like, okay, maybe I could look at a couple paths here instead of just
Yeah.
narrowing in on one, right?
I think
And
it's just, I think for me at least, it's just about have a moment, a realization, and you sonder the lives of other people and realize they have complex lives and in their own inner worlds, even if they function differently than you. So, and you got to realize that your path isn't necessarily cut out for everyone.
yeah, yeah. So I think being great for you, Sad. I think it is make sure you don't run away from FI, man. Like I think a lot of like INFPs or whatnot can get so caught up into TE that they kind of lose a piece of themselves, and I think overall you're not gonna be happy doing that or sacrificing that. And I don't know how long that you can do that as well. So just being
I
able
think,
to just balance your functions.
yeah, I think you'll grow resentful if you ignore your hero function for too long, or even morbidly depressed. And I
Hmm.
think we've kind of talked about this before. Like a lot of times, a lot of people that are turned off from their hero function end up very depressed.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I do think like you can't really do that. I think in certain relationships people get in that happens, but I do think like that's usually well you'll see. I've seen several like ISFPs, super successful as like a musician or something, and then they're blowing their brains out the next day, right? Because they've done a lot of stuff that didn't really agree with their FI, and they can't get away with that. They can't get away with that like they're an ENTJ. They cannot do that. Okay, so
Wow.
that's something you want to be cognitive of. So yeah.
Cognizant, yeah.
Someone says, so can someone be direct? But yeah, I think it depending on how they're yapping, right? Is it closed ended or open ended? Like we said,
Yeah.
also checking progression, right? Step by step by step, right? So that's important as well. So I think when you're talking to an INTJ, and it's something that they value or they foresee for their vision, they can talk all fucking day long. Okay. Like you see Dario Nardi get on here and Dario be talking his ass off.
Yeah.
Um,
People calling him ENFP.
yeah,
He's
So
ENFP.
crazy.
but like when they really care about something, they can really talk about it. But generally, if they're not interested in something, you'll get the cold INTJ ass. Say, is it possible? Is it possible I'm INTP? Wade, Wada, man, I don't know about you, bro. I think most likely, bro, you're an ENTP, bro. But yeah, you've been kicked out of my group because you're so obnoxious and annoying, bro. Sorry, man. Greatest hidden name. Oh, you mean change the world? Oh shit. Okay, sad. Changing the world is
Part
is
of
it's
something
kind
that
of tough,
changes the
man.
world. Oh,
Because like you don't have to be developed to change the world. Like you can double down to some bullshit like what you see with Donald Trump or even Kanye West. But I mean, generally speaking, all these people happy. I don't think so. Or like, let's say for instance, Kanye West is continuing to sabotage his own family, right? He doesn't even. He's so goddamn dumb. He doesn't know that like his kids are gonna walk the sins that he's done to the world. I don't know. I foresee maybe one of them fucking being, or two of them being fucking alcoholic druggies or whatever the fuck.
no.
There's consequences for that shit, man. A lot of people can't live under the same thing that you did, or like a lot of stuff. So, I think
The
that's also
success,
important.
short-term success can be a palliative for deep-rooted insecurities. That's all I will tell you.
Yeah, I mean, short-term success has the long-term cost. Okay, that's the
Yes,
important thing as well.
But
you can
Um,
make a big impact quickly, but you have to measure whether it's actually something that you align with in the long run, or you're gonna be really messed up.
I'm not sure what he means by change the world though, because that I mean I would often think in a big picture kind of way. I mean I think there's
Yeah.
always things you could do locally that in some sense change the world. But I think in terms of the people who actually affect the world on a grand scale, um, I think it's mainly going to be the NTs that do that. It's going to be the INTJs, the INTPs who um, they come up with something like a technology. They come up with social media. They come up with some kind of tech that ends up changing the world. They come up with all these companies with their
Or
with
read
they
buying
with
naps.
With what? Oh yeah, with apps. Yeah, apps.
Not even.
Snapchat. So on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, I
Um,
meant redrawing maps,
oh, me redrawing
Napo-
maps. Yeah,
like Napoleon or something.
but I know I'm sure a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's mainly been NTs that push the envelope, that push the ball
Yeah,
forward,
yeah, yeah.
that make grand changes that affect society or that affect the world. Um, I think people have this they have this perspective that NFs are doing a lot of it, but
No.
I don't. That's not really happening. No, I mean, I think you can find some examples, but
Every
it's mainly NTs because
everyone can
NTs
change the
are.
world. Uh,
What did you say, Thomas? Go and finish.
I,
I thought Zara was saying something.
nah, it's just more bromide bullshit. People will say, "Oh, everyone can change the world." Just go on.
I think when it comes to changing the world, I think about it from there's so many different ways you can change the world. I think sometimes people think like you got to be a direct leader or something to change the world, but I do think like sometimes you can be an author and change the world, right? Because you're changing
Yeah.
what the perception of people's thoughts. I think that's also important. I mean, like a lot of times, maybe people in Friedrich Nietzsche time that wasn't really on his shit, but look at a lot of people now. They internalize his philosophy and his thinking. So I think there's multiple ways that you can do that. I mean, look at Michael Jackson, right? He believed in changing the world through music, and I think he did a fucking crazy job doing that.
Hmm.
So there's a multitude ways of doing it. I just think that there's cost to it, right? And are you willing to put in the cost for that? Because there's usually some
No,
big fucking,
sacrifice.
a lot of fucking sacrifice, man. And sometimes it may not even be worth it, man. And a lot of times these guys are doing it and they're not even getting the recognition in their own time. So you gotta be careful with that. Like most people don't really get their recognition in their fucking time. Um, unless
Why do you think we ever? Why do you think that we think Michael's a pedo? We never said that, bro. Get out of here.
okay.
What is
Uh,
why do you think? And no,
No one's ever said
we
that.
never said that, and we don't. I don't
I
think
don't.
he is. I think he was.
I
I think
don't
he was
either.
I think he was very eccentric. I think this is something I've been kind of considering over the years or whatever. Like did he do it? But
mhm.
I think taking in all the information I've taken in, I don't think that he's guilty of what he's been accused of.
No.
I think he pissed certain people off, and
Mhm.
people went out to sabotage his reputation. Um, so no, I don't think he's guilty. No, I mean none of the child stars who ever went and stayed with him ever said anything bad about him. I mean, they talk about him like he was the greatest person ever. So no, I don't think he did it.
Don't put words in our mouth. Get
Yeah.
Yeah.
out of here.
I also think like when you start looking at some of the information, you notice like some of the reports and stuff. A lot of that stuff is legal and you can look at it. The first guy who did it, dude, the dude was like a possessed dentist. Like he was crazy. He didn't even give a fuck about his kid. His kid ended up committing fucking suicide. This is like how some of these fucking people are so fucking deranged, man. Like they don't think about shit else but them fucking selves. Like holy. Um, I think also like when people talk about like they were in Michael's bedroom, bitch. Michael's bedroom is a house.
Had like
Yeah.
three bathrooms in her.
Three fucking
Yeah.
bathrooms in his bedroom, upstairs and downstairs. So like in your common knowledge, you thinking bedroom. Oh shit, like it's a bed in there. It's like no motherfucker. It's like a real fucking house. Like it needs a fucking maid for it. I
Just for
think
that little section. Yeah. There's like an upstairs and downstairs for the
Yeah,
bedroom.
it's two stories. Yeah.
it was crazy. You know what I mean? It's fucking Michael Jackson, bro. Like this guy's loaded. So a lot of people when they say sleeping in a bedroom, they're like they don't really realize that, right? Until like we like actually break it down for you to actually like realize like holy shit, it's like it's not an actual bedroom, like it's like a fucking house.
No, I think we were
Um,
making fun of the fact that MJ and Epstein have the same type, but that's it. I don't
yeah.
know. We weren't implying that he was necessarily a pedo. I don't think we've ever
So-
said anything like that.
Someone said, like, I'm an INTJ and I've turned into a math teacher. Also, as a kid, my mother didn't let me be bossy with kids around me. She criticized me a lot. Do you think that could have influenced a lot? I think it could have influenced you a lot, man. If you're an INTJ, like you're, as Linda Barron says, the best thing that you can be in is an environment that notices your differences, right?
Hmm.
And that's going to make you like a healthy version of yourself. But I do think that there's pluses and minuses to that, right? Because you could have been a piece of shit INTJ who doesn't notice anything that they do around themselves, right? And then they alienate everybody around them, and then they wonder why nobody wants to be their friend or wants to be around them, right? Especially when they're not performing, right? But so your mom kind of nipped that in the bud early, so like maybe you grow out and maybe you can have long term relationships with people, right? So you got to stop
Bro,
thinking about it being like a negative all the time. What you
are
saying?
you just being an instigator today? What the hell's wrong with you? Get out of here.
Who are you talking about?
Is it
Wada.
Wada?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's gonna be banned from YouTube soon, like E Kevin.
Yeah.
He said,
ENTPs can't help
I,
themselves.
for
I
real,
swear
bro.
to God, like I never heard Mercer say this.
Never said that. I never
Never
said
said
fucking
that.
Michael Jackson's a
I,
pedo,
I would
bro. That's
like I would
crazy.
like a tape of that. I mean,
Fucking crazy,
bro, if
bro.
that were true, you could clip it to me and send it to me personally. You know my Discord.
He
So,
often, he
but
often.
I think you're bullshitting. I never heard
I
Mercer
mean,
say
me and
that.
Thomas went through so much information over like
You
probably
said
like
what?
years before
When?
this, like 2, 3 years ago.
I
You
know
remember we were on that
you
Michael Jackson stuff,
4
Thomas?
days ago? Four? No, bro, I was there. I never heard this.
That's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
Hey,
Holy shit.
that's
Unless this
crazy.
guy just has got like the worst comprehension. I mean, with the American education system, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy has no comprehension skills.
He
I
also
mean,
he often
holy,
misquotes me, bro. It's crazy. That's some Ti trickster shit.
yeah,
But
that is crazy work.
I'm an
Uh,
ENFP with an ISTP dad and ISFJ mom. Was real hard communicating with them growing up. Yeah, I think that could be hard because they're both TI users and you're like TI trickster. So I think that like they want to explain everything logically, and then you're kind of like more into like, does it work, um, or how does it make me feel, or just exploring it just from the sake of it. And I think that they're both low in NE as well, so they don't even acknowledge NE. Right? You got your dad's NE trickster and your mom's NE inferior. So I think that could be tough communicating. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Um, I don't know if Thomas Azar wants to talk about that. ENFP
uh,
with growing up with an ISTP, ISFJ.
well, you
I'm.
probably drove him nuts. That's all I can
Oh, for
say.
sure. Yeah.
You probably were the problem. I'm not even gonna lie.
Um,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know if in the best of possible worlds, I think the ideal situation is having a developed INTJ parent, INTJ father, who's going to get you on the right path or help get you there. That's probably the best case scenario. If you have anything besides that, I don't. Good luck.
Oh no, Joe
Uh,
Jackson.
my bro.
Oh no, Joe Jackson.
I said
He-
I don't mean Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson was a piece of shit, but
yeah.
he
He's extreme, bro. He's extreme.
Mercer. Yeah, but yeah, I know I always spit facts. And what career jobs would you assign INFPs if you were the king and during the medieval period?
that's a good
Oh,
question.
I actually think like I would just ask them like how to deal with certain like other kings or in negotiations. I would definitely because they have interpersonal skills up the wazoo. I mean, look at Robert Greene, Joseph Campbell. They really understand the archetypes. They really understand people at a fundamental level that I don't think I could. Like I just systematize it, but I think they understand it more intrinsically beyond type. Like, and that's why I think even like for you, Sod, like that's why you're a good typist. That's why you're actually really good at it because you understand it from a more intrinsic level, more at an innate cognitive standpoint. So that's why I think you're really good at it.
I, I'm gonna let T go. T, you wanna answer?
Let me. What is it? Let me see. What
Medieval
careers, jobs
times.
would you assign to INFPs during the medieval period? That's. I mean, that's a very interesting question. I don't know that I could really answer it. I just think that INFPs are one of those types that throughout history and now that I think they're probably one of the types that's kind of been marginalized, unfortunately,
Yeah,
because I
they were
think
probably anchorites. Anchorites. They were probably anchorites.
they're what?
They were probably anchorites. They were probably anchorites. They were probably anchorites. They were probably anchorites. They were probably anchorites or like Unix. They were probably anchorites or like Unix.
Oh, I think yeah, I because of like the specific tools that they have are not generally valued by the collective. I think, unfortunately, I think when it comes to dealing with people one on one, and like like Zara was saying, I mean,
Yeah.
in the current age, I mean, I think they probably make like good counselors, good therapists. I'm sure they're they're valuable in a number of areas. But I think generally they want to do things to help people.
Mhm.
I don't know what role what place that would be in what is it, the medieval period. I don't know. That's a good question. I also wonder about INTPs as well. Because I think INTPs is probably also another type to struggle throughout history, but at least INTPs have TI hero and they're good, good at solving problems. So I'm sure that that probably came in handy throughout, throughout history. If they weren't,
Yeah.
if they, even if they weren't in like a scholarly capacity, like like inventing math or calculus or whatever fucking shit they've invented. I'm sure like they've been able to apply their TI in a more physical realm as well. But yeah, INFPs. It's a great question. I really don't know how to answer it though.
Yeah,
I'm glad you. Yeah.
for
Yeah. Go
INFPs,
on.
what I've noticed is they have a wealth of knowledge. If you listen to them, they have a lot more than people actually give them credit for. I think they actually make pretty good advisors. One
Yeah,
because like
that's
they're
true.
very cautious people in general. They're very cautious. So that when it comes from that perspective, and I do think that like they dig into history and they listen to like everybody and they've compiled all this information, so they can actually give you like a lot of great suggestions, especially with any parent. A lot of times, like if you're like trying to come up with some solutions or something, that could be something they do very well. I do think that they probably were maybe poets or something, or maybe
Yeah.
writers or people that track history. A lot of times, because I mean, you do need those people, and INFPs are pretty good at that. I mean, I think a
Yeah.
lot of times that they can turn into like that hybrid ISTJ ish INFP. But
Okay.
I think that goes where your sins are. You got a
Yeah,
lot.
I was about
I'm
to
trying to
say,
go.
Wada, you are the definition of the Dunning-Kruger effect. How, you're not better than Sada typing. Next, and
No.
how did I get into type? That I mean, like, I'll divulge to you guys on that question.
It says, "What are your?" Well, I'm just slowly working through the comments. It says, "What are your thoughts on INFJ males working in architecture, industry, skilled trades, and construction management?" Um, I think management is going to be tough for them, right? Just because of the marshaling resources and people. I think can be tough with TE Trickster, because at the same time, like they have this particularist perspective,
Yeah.
when like you really got to be on top of time management. You got to be on top of the schedule. You got to be on top of all of that. And I think they can kind of go too much into the interpersonal
Yeah.
relationship instead of
Uh
like
huh.
actually focusing on getting things done. So I think that could be something they could struggle with. They could consistently, I think, bump their head on that. I do think that they could be great, capable leaders, but I think construction management is pretty te, bro. Pretty fucking te.
Yeah,
Um,
In
if
my
you're into
opinion,
it,
I think like I don't know what this person's specific plans are, but I think like let's say they were like a contractor. I think if they had a partner to help take care of like one side of it and he took care of the other side of it, I think it could work very well. Because like again, having those interpersonal skills are going to help a lot. And I think INFJs, I think again, I don't know what specific area of construction he's talking about, but when it comes to the SE side of it, I think INFJs they could become super proficient at it.
yeah.
If they have to learn like building codes or electric codes or whatever, I'm sure they can handle that side of it, like the more like maybe like intellectual side of it, as well as like the more like the SE side of it. But in terms of like getting things done, planning, marshaling resources, I think that it would help to have a partner like help take care of those areas. But then yeah, but if you need like let's say he was a contractor and he needs or like an estimator and he needs to go out and talk to people and it would probably be good in those areas of it, helping to knowing how to deal with people, knowing how to kind of lost my train of thought here, but it's important to know how to deal with people, whether it's homeowners, whether it's other contractors.
Yeah, I would say when we're talking as well about the construction management, I would say if you're an INFJ and you're trying to do that, I think you want to keep your team as small as possible, right? the bigger it gets, the more it's gonna like stress you out, because of the TE trickster and stuff. So if you could keep the numbers smaller, also I think you're gonna a lot of times pick up other people's slack just because you're an INFJ. So like the smaller the team, the more like it can be more interpersonally. While like if it gets like hundreds, 200, 300, you have to take a systematic approach to everything, right? And I think that's gonna bug the shit out of you. When it comes to skill trades, I think INFJ can be really good with that because they got that fucking SE and they got TI, so they can learn those like skill trades pretty damn well. It's almost like they can be, especially if they're a male, they can come off like an ISTP a lot of times. So. I don't know if Zara wants to add to that or anything. We're moving on to
No,
the
not
next one.
really.
Okay, well, I see as an NI hero, you will need words to synthesize your thoughts when you lack reading. You're going to look informative. Yes, I think that's true. Okay. Um, I appreciate Zara's vocabulary. MBTI is mainstream in Korea already. That is true. Shout out to me.
Moonji,
Yeah, I hear like if they make you take that shit, and if
they do.
you yeah, and if you got like an undesirable MBTI, they'll just fucking get like try to figure out a way to get rid of you. Just crazy. You know, humans never do shit right.
That's
Um,
yeah, that's kind of scary.
yeah, it's kind of scary. I envision like people putting on hats as like third grade or some shit. Where like you remember like Harry Potter put the hat on and it was like Gryffindor. So they'd be like you put on the hat and then somebody says ISFJ. You're like fuck. They put on the hat and the person gets fucking INTJ. Like oh I'm gonna be a champion of the world. Blah blah blah. You know like shit like that. Um, but I think humans is just gonna use things to just be better than other people, like without doing the work. Um, no one will ever know I'm INFP. I'm slowly getting through this. Augmented reality will provide people's types so you can communicate better, I believe. Chat GPT, please choose my career path for me. I think that's gonna be happening for a lot of people. Um, Business deals and therapy might use it if it's easy to hook it into augmented reality.
Well, the whole thing about typology though is that there's so much misinformation. There's just so much disagreement. And it's so frustrating because people people just they don't understand like basic definitions. They don't understand like basic definitions of the functions or the metrics we use like with the interaction styles
Or gender.
or well yeah that's no one's ever thought about that before. Um, so I kind of have a pretty cynical view as far as it gaining popularity because as it is like you have all these socionics nerds who like they think that they're like the fucking masters of Dunning-Kruger syndrome. They think they had fucking shit figured out, but you ask them to explain, okay, well, or what's your system? How do you type people? They don't give you a fucking meaningful answer. It's like just what do you say, Mercer? Trust my Russian brother. It's pretty
My
that's pretty much
Russian
that's their answer.
comrade.
Like oh
My
trust
Russian
trust
comrade.
trust me, bro. We just know. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm pretty pessimistic in terms of it catching on and being useful. I obviously I think it can be very useful. I think it's very useful in understanding people and in your interpersonal relationships. I think when it comes to raising kids, I think it could be extremely helpful because if you have an INTJ kid, that's much different than if you have like an ISTJ or ISFJ kid. Trying to force an ISFJ to be act like an INTJ, you're probably not going to be too successful in that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely think it helps to understand individual differences, but I don't see it catching on. Like people are just so negative about it. Like people who don't even understand it. Like people just like they sit on the sidelines and they criticize. Like oh well, Dario Nardi's work isn't peer reviewed or whatever it is that they tell themselves. It's like okay, but typology has to start somewhere. Psychology started somewhere. Like psychology, at least modern psychology started with Freud. It has to start somewhere. Over time, you have to build. Build the research. The research. You have to collect the empirical data. We have models that we use to type people. Blah blah blah. Yeah, over time, you have to build the evidence to validate the model. You need reproducibility. But people just write it off like right out the gate.
We got
Unfortunately.
we got the COVID mindset, bro. They want shit today, not realizing it takes a while for it to actually get there. They got the COVID mindset. We need the information today. But
Well, in the big five this, big five that. Like okay, but
it has no, you can't use it. It just tells you like, okay, you're neurotic. Okay, you're not neurotic. Okay, you're highly conscientious. Okay, you're not. Okay, I don't think that's that great. While like type teaches tells you like how do you process information. Like I've always, for example, like Big Five may tell you that me and my brother are both conscientious people, right? But that doesn't tell you that me and my brother we notice information differently, right? It doesn't tell you that, right? That I'm more T oriented and he's more TI oriented, right? So I think that's very important as well. Or just like noticing that people perceive information differently. Like let's say he's an ENTP, right? He's not gathering SE or NI or TE or FI when he makes a conclusion. He's using SINE and TI and FE, right? And we're wondering like why we got two different things. We're not even starting with the same information, okay? So that's very important to notice. Can the child function be more developed than the parent? I
Hmm.
do. I do think this is a very complex question here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a whack at it. Just notice that this may change in the future. I do think how it works is that the hero function is at the center of the person's personality type, and it has someone who it believes is the main usage uh, for it being a partner, right? And that partner is generally speaking either the parent or the child function, right? There are people who decide to that their child function is better than their parent function, right? So then that they will develop the child aspects of themselves while neglecting the parent aspects of themselves. Okay, and I do think that these are axes, right? So, like, let's say, for instance, if we take ENFP, a lot of times the ENFP males will pull on TE so hard, right? Because being a man is about getting things done and like popularity and being the guy and all that. So they'll really pull on NE and TE, right? But then they'll notice that they're not happy, right? Because they got to figure out a way to bring the FI and whatever they're doing, like pulling FI into it, so it actually builds some type of value in themselves or makes them happy, right? They can't just keep foregoing the FI aspects of life, right? But they will pull heavy on the TE, right? So a lot of times they can look like ESTJs, developed wise, I would say, right? But not their core type. So I do think that some people can have it a little bit more developed, but I do think that if people stop and they try to use or make it a mission to get good with their parent function, they'll notice that it starts moving a lot faster and it's a little bit more nuanced, right? But I do think that most people are stuck in their way of life, right? It's very hard for an INTJ to change NIFI to NITI, right? Because you've always been doing it, right? So it's kind of a lot harder. You might get, stuck into it, but you can change. I think those are things that you like change around. While like your hero function is going to be a lot harder to move SE in there, right? Very important. I don't know if Thomas didn't want to add anything to that.
Mm. Well, I generally think that when a type's child is more developed or seemingly more developed than the parent, I think that's usually not very good. I think it usually speaks towards like
Childish.
childish, it just poor development overall. Like you look at somebody like Donald Trump, or you look at like these INTJs who don't really have developed TI parent.
TJ.
Um, I think that in general these types are going to struggle in life. I think Donald Trump's a different situation just because he was born into a wealthy family and he had a lot of shit handed to him. So I think he didn't really have to develop his parent. Somehow he was able to get by without it. But I think in general it's as a type you I think you're gonna want to develop your parent. You don't want to neglect it. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but unfortunately, like Mercer was saying, though, once you've kind of been on a path, like you've already been like you've already been more centered in your child. I think it can be hard to break the cycle. And I think the longer that continues, the harder it becomes to break it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I'll also talk about we kind of explored in the past the what I call the artificial inferior function, and that's usually what happens when someone goes too hard on their child function or their parent function. So they create like inferior like properties, and I think you'll see that in a lot of people, and I think that's the reason why they mistype themselves quite a bit. Um,
Yeah,
for example, like you'll get um, um, let's say a developed ENTP who's NETI, right? And then they'll say that they struggle with understanding people, or they struggle with, harmonizing with people or understanding how people feel. And that's because they're pulling so much on the TI, that they're not giving themselves any FE. But what you will notice is like they talk about it, but they can kind of adjust a lot better once they realize it. While like when if it's an INTP, it's a lot harder for them to incorporate the FE into their life. It's a lot harder because the hero function is kind of like always on, like a TV, 24/7. So it's a lot harder than the child function, which is like you can kind of manipulate around child and the parent. You can kind of manipulate around to your liking. So I think that's also important there. But that is a thing. I do think OPS gets that right. So shout out to them on that. With
but
that, what's up?
I know we've said it before though, but I think a lot of people mistake their child function for their hero function. Um, that would just be like one other thing I would mention.
Okay, someone say with add much politeness as possible. How accurate is C.S. Joseph information on type? I think if you are looking for something exciting, if you're looking for something new, I think you it's beneficial to listen to an ENTP, but I think if you're trying to listen and actually become proficient and actually be able to use this stuff, I don't think they're that great. I'm sorry. It's just reality. I do think like they consistently keep something exciting. So if you like something new, you like a new any project or something to go down a new any roller coaster to ride, is great. But when it comes to being nuanced and talking about like how things are over the spectrum of things, I really don't think anyone is our level. But I do think if you're like a beginner or something and you want to be excited about what you're learning and you want to be enthusiastic, because that's what they can really do very well, is make you feel enthusiastic about it. But I'm gonna fucking tell your ass over here like, hey, you suck at type. Hey, it's gonna take you hundreds of hours to get good at it. They're gonna tell you anybody could do this. This would be perfect. You take this and everything will be solved. Oh my God, you want the perfect relationship? Find this type. I'm not gonna fucking tell you that, right? I'm not gonna blow smoke up your fucking ass. I'm gonna tell you the fucking truth. Like, hey, there ain't no perfect relationships, bro. And every relationship, there's gonna be good things, there's gonna be bad things. There's gonna be what do you really want for your life? I would tell you think about it from a long-term perspective, what you can deal with, what you can't deal with, and then go from there. But I do think, like I said, if you are just getting into type, I think it's very good. But to be honest, since this channel exists, I would not watch that channel. That's just me personally. But Tom and Czar, maybe you guys want to talk about that.
Well, I don't even see that. What's the question exactly?
How, being as polite as possible, how accurate do you think sees Joseph's information on type?
Who asked that question?
Someone named Oreo Monarch.
Oh, Oreo.
Yeah.
How accurate is it? I think it's a mixed bag. That's the problem with I think a lot of the NTPs, including Chase. I think he has some information that's very accurate and insightful. But I think you have to sift through a lot of fucking like bullshit in order to get the golden nuggets. Unfortunately, I think when he started off, like when he was just following like Linda Barron's and um, focusing, I think more on like the actual literature, I think he provided a lot of value. He took the existing literature and put his own spin on it. Um, but yeah, I think initially he provided a lot of value, but I just think over time he's kind of drifted because he's he has to make money off of this. We're not selling courses. We're not offering you fucking like solutions to your relationship. Like simple minded solutions like that. Those don't exist.
There's
So
no
kind of,
heuristics.
huh?
There's no heuristics for relationships.
Yeah, he oversimplifies things again because he's selling people dreams because he needs you to buy his courses or he needs you to join his
Yeah.
school community. Again, we're not selling anything. We don't charge anything for typing sessions. Mercer just says, "Come in, boost the server. Come in and be active in the server. We'll type you." And we get things wrong, but over time we try to refine our knowledge, refine our typing abilities. I think we're a lot better than we were 2 or 3 years ago. With Chase, I don't really see that. I see him getting progressively worse in his typing abilities. He wouldn't say that. He thinks that he's come up with a newfangled way to type people accurately. I would say it's more of like a newfangled way to mistype people. And he's
Hmm.
mistyped a lot more people than his community realizes. And it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to tell people what to do. I think people just, coming from TI critic, I would say people, you need to use your critical thinking skills. Take a step back. Like, is this actually correct? And maybe consider other sources. What are the actual what does Linda Barron's actually say? Don't just take his word for it. Read the fucking book. A lot of these people, like Mercer gets on people's asses. Nobody fucking reads. So people look at him like he's a fucking guru and like he has the answers to everything. No, he doesn't. And again, I don't want to get nasty with this, so I guess I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, actually do your, if you actually care about learning about type and typing people, et cetera, do your fucking due diligence. Use critical thinking. Consider other sources. Don't look at him like he's the godhead, like he invented typology, because he didn't.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a puerile figure in my estimation. I also think that largely you can mistype people pretty consistently using the octagram. I think it's pretty much garbage. I have no respect for it. I do not care. You could justify any mistyping just by saying someone's in their unconscious or subconscious. It's a bunch of horseshit. Um, I right today. I was going to, before I got on here, I was gonna go call myself Subconscious Z because he's such an inspiration to me, you know. And I think like he'll always try to present like the newfangled thing as like Thomas said, but the thing is that just because it's a new shiny object doesn't mean it has much merit or as much substance. So I don't really respect it. I don't. I think at one time he kind of brought type to the mainstream, but I think he divulged from that path in the beginning where he was just talking about the fundamentals, reading like Barron's to Beebe, to now he's on his little he's like near the psych ward, selling bullshit to people, and he may as well be selling Ponzi schemes. It's pretty pathetic. I mean, he may as well be Patrick Bet David with those MLMs. I don't respect him. He's not worth it. He's not worth an ounce of my time or worth he's a drop in the bucket to me. I don't I would say this to his face. I don't care.
You're supposed to be
And
nice, Zara.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
I'll just
don't.
leave it. I'll just leave it at like you will know them by the fruits they bear, right? That's a Jesus quote, man. And I do think like when you're looking at our community and you're looking at what we've done, and especially if we're live and we're talking about people, you can see in the comments that people are shouting out the interaction styles. People are shouting out the cognitive functions. People are more correct. People are getting better, right?
Yes.
So I think when you look at somebody like me and you compare me to him, like my people, the people that follow me and listen to this, these people are actually getting somewhere. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's just where I will leave it at. You will know them by the fruits they bear. Okay, just leave
Yeah,
it
and
at
I
with
think
you.
like just our system alone, like just to be honest, we actually teach like the functions, we go by the definitions, we stick to the fundamentals, and we provide evidence. And even when people, uh, will dispute typings, we will go back and review them. We'll even show breakdowns, and we actually hold ourselves accountable. Unlike many typology communities that will just justify their bullshit. So we actually do that, and many can't say that they do.
Yeah.
To put it nicely,
Yeah, and
for
I'll
now.
say it again. Like when you're looking at what we do, it's like not only is the information clear, not only do we have multiple people, not only are we reviewing it, not only are we making sure we
Well,
record it, right? Not only are we presenting it to you guys to be scrutinized as well, but we also allow people to come into our Discord and you can
yeah,
debate us. You can ask us questions and we'll fucking answer them. And we'll walk you through what the fuck we're seeing and why we're getting it. You won't see me gaslight you into some
yeah,
bullshit, okay? You will
yeah.
never see that from us, okay?
Like I
Be
haven't
straight
ever
up with
talked.
you.
Yeah, I actually watched you guys like a year before I ever joined the Discord, and like I learned a lot of the fundamentals from you guys, and then joining the Discord, then there was all the resources and information. You guys can go there, read the literature, read Linda Barron's interaction styles, the cognitive functions. You can read Beebe, and you can read Chestnut and and all that. But yeah. But my point is that over time you'd get better by practice and working at it, and then typing people, and you make a lot of mistakes along the way. But most people don't have the temerity, the fortitude, the resilience to keep pushing through. Unfortunately, there's no heuristics to becoming good at typology, and there's very little payoff, really. And also you're not going to find your dream partner just because you know typology. You actually have to work it yourself. You're going to have to actually floss every day, brush your teeth, and actually get up, go outside, and touch grass. You know,
Yeah. Damn,
it's
we got a lot
there.
of fucking comments here, bro. I'm like at 103 to go. All right, we're moving on. You didn't do well.
Someone said, "Where's Christian? He's avoiding typology." That's what.
So Christian, man, you gotta remember, man, Christian, I was forcing Christian to do typology. Christian's ISTP, bro. He's not interested in fucking typology, bro. Christian got his Dragon Ball Z channel. He's actually really good, man. I was talking shit to him while he was staying with me for 2 weeks, while he was getting his apartment, and I was talking mad shit, and I was like, "Yo, you better get on this fucking game and show me you can whoop these people ass." And like, he queued up. He had a shitload of excuses. So it's kind of funny when we're away from each other, because we do different things for each other that we don't notice. Like I make sure that Christian maximizes his skill, and he makes sure I do things differently, right? Because like he says, I'll get stuck in my way. He likes to say, "Bro, you're autistic" or some shit. He likes to say that, "Bro, you're autistic, bro. You'll just do the same shit over and over." I noticed that like, yo, we do things that help each other, but it's always fun. Christian will be back on eventually, man. It's hard to schedule it with him because he's got his own channel, man, and he's gonna do his own shit first. What are your thoughts on INFJ? Damn, he's spamming this architecture and construction. We did that, bro. We did
Yeah,
that one.
he asked the same question multiple times. Yeah, because we didn't answer it at first. So,
Yeah.
but that question's
Just
done.
Okay, I'm slowly getting through this shit, man. I've learned to balance my innie out and get better at explaining my perspective on things. Had to focus on TIA a lot in order to counter their TI usage as well. Okay, that's awesome. I think he said he was ENFP. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. A developed INTJ parent, teacher, mentor can be really great for their kids and students. I think INTJs, they're pretty good, but they're pretty, like, you can never make them happy as well.
Yeah,
That's going to be something that you're going to struggle with. I think INTJ parents should really realize that they need to sit down and, like, tell their kids that they love them regardless of if they win or lose.
yeah.
And, like, to let up on the
Well,
process sometimes.
Kobe said that exact thing about his parents is that it didn't matter whether he won or lost. They still showed him love. So that's why I don't agree with Joe Jackson. I don't think Joe Jackson, he didn't have to beat the crap out of Michael Jackson in order to get Michael Jackson to be great, because Michael Jackson had something in him that nobody else had. All he needed was the guidance, in my opinion. You didn't need to beat the
Yeah.
crap out of him and terrorize him in order to get him to be great.
And
Um,
and he could have used the Christmas. Come on, give the guy. My
so yeah,
I'll still sign a petition, Michael for Christmas.
Yeah,
um,
I do think like INTJs can become so obsessed with things
with the
that they
vision
don't
and
notice what they're actually doing to other people. Okay,
I still,
they just get
well,
so
he's just a
possessed with that
retard,
vision.
who?
Joe Jackson, in a lot of ways.
I mean,
Like,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
kind of a
mean,
retard.
I
I mean, he
would say
got him
that.
there, but he's still like, I mean, he still inflicted a lot of pain and trauma on them. Like he didn't need to do all that. It was a little extra. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
even.
sometimes they get in a way where they think my vision, and this is the only way for
And
my vision to come reality. I got to be so hard on the process that I
I
literally
know.
grind everybody out. It's kind of like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It's the same shit, bro. Like INTJs got to watch that. Like, you really got to watch, grinding people the fuck out. Okay,
And
'cause you
and
can
you have to realize where Joe Jackson came from. You know, he came from he was essentially poor. Like, or his parents
yeah.
might have been middle class, but he came from essentially very little, and he raised his kids up to be one of the greatest sensations
Stars.
in the world. And then Michael Jackson became like the biggest pop star ever. Um, so I can like, again, I can't fully justify what he did, but I can understand why he was so strict, and why he beat the vision into them. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he beat the INTJ in them kids. Um,
like and
that's why Michael.
the movie definitely portrays him as very unsympathetic. The movie portrays him as like, basically, he's just like this piece of shit who, and again, it's the movie actually did, I think, a pretty good job of portraying him as an INTJ.
I
It's
tell you what
about
to think, boy.
his vision, about his way, and Michael has to kind of Michael, like, the arc of the movie is Michael has to finally you know pursue his own path in life, essentially. Escape
Yeah, he
his
branded them. Yeah, he
yeah.
was constantly branding them with that vision.
I
Yeah,
tell you
those
what
kids
to
had
think,
no
boy.
freedom.
I
Mm-hmm.
was laughing my ass off when he said that. I told you what to think, boy.
Oh,
I'm sorry when he said
oh,
that shit.
for real. I
I'm
told you
so
what to
T
think.
parent. I told you what to think.
Think you don't. I don't. You need to think. I told you. Jesus.
Crazy, bro. All right, Mercer, what kind of leaders do INFJ actually make out in the world? I think they make pretty good leaders. I just think it's going to be a lot tougher for them to scale their leadership, right? I do think when it comes, I think Simon Sinek talks about it in a good way. Sometimes you don't want to just burn people with the metrics, right? Because if people have a good environment and they taking care of their needs and they feel special, then that comes out in their work. I do think that method works, but I do think you got to kind of balance it. And I think like there's certain models that works for. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware of Chick-fil-A, like that model works. But I think sometimes it depends on the people that you're hiring as well. I think if you're hiring like at Wendy's, they just hire anybody, right? I think Chick-fil-A takes their time in their hiring process, so then they're getting more quality people. Then also they're upping their pay. They're also upping the leverage they got. So I think INFJs will build models that's simpler to, I mean, more like that, where they want to build the environment and stuff like that. And I do think it works, man. I think after watching Simon Sinek and reading his books and stuff, I learned that there's a lot of merit to what he's saying and what he's doing, right? So
Yeah,
I do think INFJs can be great leaders in that perspective. What do you think?
I think they're champions for people.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what they are. They're not very efficient. They don't really understand systems, and over time, they do need more systematic people to kind of manage and scale businesses. But they kind of do bring that more interpersonal side within the corporate space, which is kind of necessary. I do think actually it should improve by a lot. We need more of them in that arena. How can you two talk about how SI Demon works nowadays? I don't know if you guys want to like cover
Oh,
that.
Zara, we slowly walking down this systematically, bro. Thomas, anything you want to say about INFJs being leaders?
No, I thought it was ENFJs. Wasn't
INFJ, INFJ,
it was?
INFJ.
I see when it says, what kind of leaders do ENFJs make? That's what I
Yeah,
see.
well, we can talk about both of them. But
Um, well,
ENFJs aren't leaders.
I don't know a ton about ENFJs. What I would say, like, what I do know though, is like they're not taking a systematic approach. They're taking more of like an ethical approach, where they want I think they want people to be included, and they want people to um how, how do
pass.
I put it? I think that they want people to kind of feel good and be comfortable in the environment,
Mhm.
like whether it's a work environment. It's maybe not so much oriented towards like, we just need to get this done, and we're just gonna we're in a system here. We're gonna treat people like they're fucking machines. I think that they want people to feel like they're human, um,
Yeah.
and they treat people treat people like humans, instead of like they're cogs in a machine, which is often how businesses are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think also the
They
pastors.
bring the human element.
I think the pastors. You see a lot of pastors being ENFJs. You see like TD Jakes. He's a like big
Oh
in
yeah, that's right.
leaders.
Yeah.
They do that pretty well. but like he said, like they don't really care about the FE perspective. I've noticed there's a one lady at my job. She's like big in on HR.
Your mic is like not working very well.
Oh shit, is it me? Okay, let me see. So I think I have a like a boss. She's like over HR. Well, she's not in mine, but she's big up at HR, and she leads through FE, right? Making sure people are heard. Are you, which is kind of annoying sometimes because like you can have a piece of shit person and she's trying to accommodate that piece of shit person.
Yeah,
Like, is
that
this
true.
person
Yeah.
heard? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? And it's like this is just a piece of shit person. You just need to get rid of them. But you know, for them, it's about the person, and every individual matters, and all this other fucking shit. But at the end of the day, I do think like you can reach some people with that approach. But I do think that you know if you're an ENFJ, you got to remember your hero function and your demon are the same fucking coin, just different sides of it. To be productive with people, you also got to be able to manage resources and marshal people and get things done. But you also got to care about how they feel about things. So they're like you got to make both of those work, right? If you want to be the best leader, right, for the tribe, right, because they're very tribe focused. That's what I would say. Moving on to the next one. Mike Bigger Dandy thinks he's INTP, bro. I don't give a fuck. Why, bro? God damn, get this guy out of here. You're just wasting my time.
Your mic is still kind of like not working
Really?
excellent.
Really, T? Let me give me. Can you hear me now?
I could hear you. There's just like I don't know, some like background noise or something like fuzzy.
Really?
I don't know.
I think it's Zara.
Maybe it's Zara.
It's Zara. It's Zara. It's Zara. Zara's got some fuzz in his background. Someone says super frustrating. Spent 5 years wasting my time in MBTI community. Yeah, man. I think, man, if you notice that like you're not getting better, I think there's a problem, bro. Like if you're spending 2 years, just think about if you're in a school or something, right? And you've been studying something for 4 years and you still can't use it, bro. There's a fucking problem. Okay, there's a fucking problem. And if you've been learning something for 4 years, and you can't get it down, and you look around and all of the other people are having the same problems, it's usually the fucking teacher, bro. It's usually the fucking teacher. That 1 + 1 = 2, bro. They won't need to know or understand it. Okay, well, South Korea has a very surface level MBTI. You can't realistically expect them to cook people well if you don't get their framework right. Yes, that's true. Typology is actually full of smelly basement dwelling nerds who can't help themselves from looking too deep into shit. Damn, sad, you going hard today, bro. Uh,
Bars.
bars. The reason I don't want typology to become mainstream is because you can see what happens when nations have centralized, crappy frameworks like South Korea. Well, I think me and Thomas have talked about it as well. When you're talking about MBTI and you're talking to people and you start listing authors and these people have never heard these authors, you're in for a world of hurt. Okay, if I'm talking about enneagram and you don't know Naranjo, you don't know Ichazo, you don't know Chestnut, you don't know Don Russo, you don't know none of these people. Like this person usually don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, so people just run to some type of blog spot and get their information, right, or they'll get it from some idiot who have read half or something or thought they knew something and put it together in an easy format. It's kind of weird. I think people don't like to actually do things the right way so that they don't have to worry about it. They'd rather do some chop shop job and then be having to fix it. You can see that same system apply even in the gym. You'll see people like try to rush to like lift and do all this stuff instead of learning the perfect process to lifting. So then that you don't have to like let's say for instance if you're squatting, right, and you're squatting with bad form and then you consistently squat and you get strong with that bad form, right, and you get like let's say you get to 325 and then you're like, man, if somebody tells you, man, if you fix your fucking form you could probably squat 400, and now you got to start all the way over with this new fucking form when you could have just did it right the first fucking time, right? And that applies to MBTI as well. Like get the information right, read the authors. I think a lot of times you can run into people that are clowns in this space where they think that they've invented something new that nobody else has done, right? Dunning Kruger effect, big time. But like I said, I would always go to the sources.
And people who haven't even read the sources, they haven't even read about enneagram or whatever, but they have an opinion on it. A lot of people like that.
Yeah, yeah. And like we said, I think what we do well here is we may slowly get around to things, but we are slowly incorporating them the correct way, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're just like, oh, let's just jam all this shit in here. It's like, okay, we are open to Enneagram, and then we go on Enneagram and we start reading the books, and we learn all of the information that's there, and then we try to like, okay, how can we systematize it, right? Okay, and then we go from there. I think in the future we might be moving to psychosophy as well, so you might see us talk about psychosophy as well, because I think it's a pretty basic system, but I do think it has some merit as well. But you know how we are over here, we make sure that we go deep. When people go wild, we go deep. Okay, so that may happen in the future. I think it'd be a great way to look at differences, even more differences in like, INTJs. Like sometimes you got an INTJ who's an L1, and then sometimes you got an INTJ who's an N1, right? So that can make some difference for why they're more intelligent or more focused on their vision, right? So I think that's important. I think maybe
Yeah,
it's
more
something we'll
V.
talk about. L1 and
Yeah,
then
isn't it V?
B1. Oh, B1. Shit. You're right, Zar.
V
Thank you.
one.
B1
Yeah.
and L1, right? Like Zara's a
Yeah.
L1. I think Thomas is also L1.
Yeah.
So manifest a lot different, guys. NTPs are the master of art rage bait. I swear to God. Okay, that's sad. There, they said Mongolians is top in this community. Yeah, I think we are. I really do think we are. I do think you can learn something from every community, but what we try to do is we try to synthesize it all into one. Like there's merit, there's truths into what people say in Oceanics. There's truths that C.S. Joseph says. There's truths of OPS, but you just gotta find all of the wrong shit and then take that wrong shit and get rid of it and then pull it into one thing. And I think that's what we do over here. Like for me, I think I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not interested in stealing somebody else's work. Like if someone comes up with something in our Discord and you came up with it, shit, I'll get on camera and say, "Hey, fucking Jess came up with this shit," right? I'm not about to be like, "Oh yeah, I came up with this shit." I think that's some loser type shit. Or just in general, like if Thomas said something, you will see me say, "Oh, Thomas said this." Like when I got on there with Dario Nardi, and we were talking about attachment styles, and I was like, "Yeah, me and Thomas were talking about attachment styles may depend on the partner you got." So that was something like Thomas came like he suggested, and I was like, "Okay, I'm definitely gonna say that." But I make sure I'm gonna give that man his credit because that's what he said, right? Or Zara will say like we quote each other a lot of times, man. We'll just quote each other, but I think it's respect, man. I think some other people do that. He said, "I joined the Discord a few weeks ago, but know nothing about it. How do I boost the server so I can get typed?" I think you just go to the top. I think it's like Nitro or some shit. And you can just hit the button. It's called boost. I think it's like $9 or some shit. Um, it's not too much to that. Um, yeah, all you gotta do is get to level 25 and it's free, bro. I mean, it might take you like 4 weeks to get there, but it is what
It's
it
not
is.
that hard.
I mean, you'll learn a lot as well,
Yeah.
man, because there's very knowledgeable people in our community. I do think we have the best knowledgeable people. I do think, like, when it comes to what we have in our community, they're better than 90% of the fucking people that are yapping typology on YouTube. Straight up. I don't give a fuck. No one says. I think the people that's in our group are leagues better than anybody else. So it's like a juggernaut sometimes. Okay, I love it. It's a reflection of what we've done and how good people are, man. So yeah, I'm an unconscious ESP. Go away. You got any good questions? You got any good questions? Someone said is CSJ gay. I don't know about CSJ being gay, bro. Um, no, brother. Do you have any?
Someone asked about what is it like working on your trickster? I think that was one of the more recent questions. What is it?
Okay. What do you say about the T?
What is it? Where the hell's that question? Oh, is it a good idea to actively focus on developing your blind spot? Um, I don't think so. I mean, Dario Nardi has said it himself. I think the best you could do is try to cover the blind spot. Um, Again, I think for specific advice, you need to know what the specific blind spot is. I don't know what your type is, um, but that's I mean, so I don't know that I want to say anything too general, but what I would say, focus on developing your strengths rather than trying to develop a weakness that's a blind spot. That doesn't really make a whole lot. I think Mercer might have different theories as far as how to use your trickster for good. Um, but I think, like, let's say, like, if you're INTJ, I think you really wanna focus on, hopefully focus on the vision and developing your TE parent. Working on your SC is actually very important. I think a lot of INTJs, especially the five, mainly the fives, they think they can ignore the SE. I think where the fives can really struggle also is just ignoring their relationships, like, not valuing their relationships, which over a period of time, you kind of you put yourself in a bad spot. You isolate yourself. You become detached from reality. It's definitely one of the downsides of being a five. Is you have to fight the urge to become detached from reality.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the trick shot, I think awareness is king, right?
Yeah.
Because beforehand, you're just making these blunders and you're not even aware of it. But now, if you have like if you've been typed correctly, you're aware of what your trickster function is,
Hmm.
and I think that's the most important thing for that. So you can kind of like have this lever where you're like, okay, this act that's happening, okay, I can consciously try to control it or try to fight back, right? So you're putting the ball more in your court. I do think that if you're trying to develop it, I think the child function does drip into it quite a bit. And what does that look like? Okay, if a ENFP is using TE child, and they're using a lot of it, they can learn some type of TI based off all the TE that they took in, right? So I think you could get it from that way because you can say, well, like if you take in a lot of TE, you could say, well, that doesn't make sense because X source said this, right? Or you can say that doesn't make sense because X source said that. So you kind of got like some type of sources in there that can kind of help you with your TI trickster, right? I think like if you were talking about an INTJ with FI, the more they explore FI, the more that they can put themselves in other people's shoes. Like, okay, I would feel this way about this, then so I should do this to make this person feel good, right?
Hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
the aspects of it that. So I do think the child function can drip into the trickster's development. So I think that is the reason why people who skip over their parent function can be harder to type because their tricksters can be a little bit more developed than the stereotypical version of their type. But let's move on. Anything else interesting y'all seeing? I see 159 fucking comments, bro.
Uh,
Well,
well, there was
somebody's
a
asking
comment.
about, what's your guys' thoughts on other personality metrics: temperament, socionics, psychosophy, attitudinal psych. That's a pretty good question. I I think out of that, I think temperaments is, like, probably, like, the main thing that I find. Like, we haven't really gotten into psychosophy yet. Socionics, I think, is practically useless. Not There's probably some value in there, but to me, it's a different system. It's a different system than MBTI, or what. It's a different system than West. I call it Western typology because MBTI is a test. That's a different question there. But I think people are making a mistake when they try to, like, synthesize socionics with Western typology because it's a different system. I don't find it particularly useful. I think socionics people are profoundly misinformed. I think temperaments are highly useful, though. Yeah, Linda Barons talks about the temperaments. I think Kiersey did. Temperaments, I think, are very, very important to understand. And sometimes it's pretty obvious, like, when you're typing somebody, like, oh, this person keeps talking about people, 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 people. Well, maybe you have an NF here, and they have a global outlook. Or if somebody's doing, like, abstract, like, they're systematic theorizing. Well, you have an NT. There's certain things which are giveaways as far as what somebody's temperament is. So I definitely find that useful. I don't know about attitudinal psych. I don't think we've dipped into that.
Yeah, I think attitudinal psych is just
I
another variation of psychosophy. I think psychosophy is like the Russian version, and attitudinal psych is like the Western version. So I think those are pretty much the same. So I mean, I think it depends on. I think they're pretty good to look at because you're looking at more vectors to look at people. I think, but I do think you got to start one place and then slowly work through it. I don't
yeah.
think it's like something where you just want to start and just like take on all of these at one time. I don't think that's something that will produce great results. I think like I said, you want to take it, learn one, master it, and then move on and try to incorporate another one because it does take time, and you're gonna bump your head. Like when we got in the enneagram, we bumped the fuck out of our head, right? We bumped the
Yeah.
shit out of it, right? Like holy shit, man. We did the same thing with MBTI, but just less of it because we had more practice with it. Uh, the same thing will happen with psychosophy. Like it's the same shit. I do think that it's important to look at all of it because I do think it can only help you with understanding people, and if that's your overall goal, like looking at different frameworks to understand people, I think it's helpful. So yeah. Do we, bro? Sweetest guy, bro. You gotta chill out, bro. You gotta chill out. Anything else?
I think well, I don't know where the somebody was asking like which types are most manipulative. I think it was like what is it ENTP men, INTJ women. I think in general your ENTP men are probably going to be the most manipulative. I think your any heroes, but also FE childs. But I think ESTPs are they're not strategic. They're only manipulative in the moment. Like I've seen ESTPs like have their meltdown and then like they'll start fucking like they'll do it in the moment. They'll start gaslighting or they'll start like fucking guilt tripping and scapegoating. Um, but yeah, ENTPs could be more strategic about it. You look at somebody like Andrew Tate. It's like Andrew Tate, like he could just he could be fucking caught red-handed, but he could fucking spin a tail to make it look like he's innocent. Um, he could set all kinds of rat traps to get people to do what he wants them to do. It's with the ones who are actually effective at it. I think it's hard to tell like what the truth even is. But I think many of them probably think they're good at manipulating, but they're transparent. But you have a certain number of people who are fooled by it, unfortunately.
Someone said, if the channel becomes big, will it remain a typology channel or will it go out of the niche? I think for us, it will always have elements of typology to it. I do think that we will branch out into more things because, like I said, like we're the types to focus, refine our skills, and then move out. Right. Once your skills are refined enough, I think you got to move out. You got to move out. You got to try different things and see how that lands with people. Because ultimately, I think we are the best when it comes to giving people accurate information. So I think we'll move into trying different things. I've talked to Thomas them, and we're thinking about potentially reacting to crime videos, man, and typing people based off what we see. Hopefully, a lot of times we can use visual typing because our visual typing is so strong. I wouldn't recommend that for most people because that's also a skill that you have to learn, right? You have to build up your database on the faces that you've seen and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
think that's something that we could look at in the future, like looking and reacting to maybe crimes, different. I also noticed like there's a lot of behavior specialists that we could react to as well, and let's see if we match some of the stuff they say match up to what we think as well based off the person's type. Kind of like with Aaron Carter, we did the Aaron Carter, and there was a behavior guy kind of breaking his stuff down, and like we're breaking him down from the MBTI perspective and how it matches and like stuff like that. I think that's very important for me, man. I got a lot of shit to do. I gotta finish my MBTI breakdowns. That's very important for me to finish that. Um, Gotta also finish my parent series as well, parent versus the hero series. But it's kind of hard to orchestrate, like with the schedules and stuff like that. Also, those are very dense subjects, so like I said, you got to make sure you do those right. We also have to do the enneagram breakdown. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's a big one, I think.
That's a big one as well. It's a lot of shit going, and then we also have like Dario. Dario's he wants to come on a lot more. I think he likes hanging out with pragmatic people. I think he's been like forced in like this affiliative circle, so like he likes coming out and hanging out with us. So we're gonna have him on a lot more. So that's a lot of
Mhm.
shit. We also got to keep up with our celebrity typings because people who boost the server, they do get celebrity. So staying on top of that. Also, like making sure our group is, growing and getting better, and that our members are happy because that's ultimately our goal is to make people the best versions of themselves. That's always been my goal. That's always been the reason that I got into typology. I didn't get into typology to save a fucking relationship. I got into typology to be the best version of myself. So you'll see that kind of come out in all of my work in general. But we got Thomas here as well, and we got Sar, and we got like there's a lot of other people, man. A lot of faces you guys don't see that do help behind the scenes. So shout out to them. Yeah, Thomas, anything you want to say, man? Sar.
Um, yeah, I mean, like, thanks for the support, guys. We can't do it without you. Yeah, it's been an incredible ride. I mean, for my personal journey into typology, I think it's been an exuberating and exhilarating process. I find it. I I enjoy it. I enjoy the hell out of it. I think it's fun. Even with some of the malcontents that exist on here, I still exist, and I still put on a smile just for you because I know it tortures you, and that's all I want. And and I live for that. I live for my haters, and I love it. I feed off of it, and I will keep going and keep charting ahead. But I also want to say that like a lot to the people that actually want to learn it, the resources are excellent here. The books inside the Discord will fast track you. But again, practice is everything. You can reach out. You can even reach out to me. I'll even help you if you actually are. If you take it seriously and you actually want to be diligent in towards your refining your understanding of typology. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic group. Most of you guys are seem okay, but some of you are a little bit yeah, because some of you are pretty bad.
Not good.
Not
Not
good.
yeah
Not
yeah.
good.
Just
They don't send their
just
best.
yeah. I mean, they're just. I mean, I don't have too many nice things to say.
Someone
Um,
says, "Yeah, I'm gonna answer a couple more, and we're gonna get out of here because we do
Yeah.
have typings later." Do you think serious life circumstances, trauma, adapting to career, etc., reorder the hierarchy of function stack? I think what you'll notice is trauma and stuff like that will put people in specific archetypes. I know we haven't explored this much on here, but me and Thomas have talked about it quite a bit. Is that people take on the archetype of energy that they're sitting in? So I do think like there's times where people are like stuck in their trickster function. We think when we're looking at Aaron Carter,
Yeah, Aaron Carter.
he
Yeah.
he is sitting in his trickster function, and that's the reason why he's sabotaging his life consistently over and over again, and he has an inability to grow up. So, looking at it from that perspective, trauma and things like that can put you in places that you don't want to be. I do think that depending on your career, you may be focused to bypass your child function. I mean, your parent function or your child function. So I think like when you're looking at people, there's the contextual stuff, and I think that is important to realize. But I do think like when you catch people in their norm, they kind of like to go back to their like equilibrium or their normal
yeah,
state.
yeah.
So
Homeostasis.
I, I don't think no, I don't think anything changes your function stack because I think typology is something you're born with. It's something that predates birth.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
think
just like Mercer's saying. I think it's not that your function stack changes, but how maybe the function that you're sitting in maybe changes.
yeah,
That so like the expression of your type may be different, but your type is your
yeah,
type. Um,
yes, I agree.
Yeah, it just takes somebody who understands. Like a lot of people will say, "There's no way Aaron Carter's ENTP." It's like they just lack the skill to actually understand and break down what's going on there, while we can like see through it, right? And I do think that that takes a lot of time to be able to get to that point. And like I said again, like our group is set up in a way that if you ask questions, somebody will try to answer them. Maybe I'll answer them, maybe I don't. Depends on like what's going on. But I do think overall, like there's a lot of great minds there. I think it's just gonna get better because overall, like our goal is to become knowledgeable and actually use the stuff. And I think a lot of people just like circle jerk around and do mental gymnastics and
Hmm.
to
look
feel like they're smart.
looking for their golden pair
Yeah, and
or
they make
what?
a bunch of I make a bunch of untoward comments on YouTube because they're degens and have nothing going for themselves.
That that too.
It says, "Are you guys gonna try and make your own system based on things you've learned?"
Mm.
I think that's just natural progression of NI, right? We're gonna pull all the
Hmm.
stuff into one. But I think for me, I will never try to steal other people's shit, right? I'm never gonna do
No,
and say, I got this from this person, I got this from Dario, I got this from Psycho Sophie, I got this from there. You'll never see that. And with things that I have my own thoughts about or my own perspective on, I always tell people this is what I'm seeing, okay? This is what I'm seeing. I'll let you know this is what I'm seeing. Or if there's a complex question where I realize like, hey, I could be wrong on this, I'm gonna let you fucking know beforehand. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. That's not what we do over here. So
So
if you
yeah,
want smoke up your ass, you gotta go somewhere else.
it's not about making a new system. I think it's just about refining the knowledge that we have and the knowledge
yeah,
that's available, perfecting what we already have.
hmm,
Because I mean, as it is, what we already have is very good. So I don't see like why would you go off why would let's
I
create
think
something new? It's like that doesn't make sense to me.
no.
Just to make yourself feel smart, okay? Do y'all unanimously hate rewatching yourself in past and recent channel videos? Yes, I really hate doing it. It's annoying, but it's part of the process to getting good. I hate hearing my voice. It annoys the fucking shit out of me. Um, but at the same time, like, if someone's like, "Hey, Mercer, I think you typed me wrong," I'm gonna go look at it. It's gonna be annoying as fuck, but I'll go look at it. If enough people make enough noises on YouTube, then we'll do a reaction channel. We'll do a reaction video to it. That's just something we do. Um, is it a pet peeve? Yes, it is definitely a peeve of mine. But like it's the same thing in chess. Like if you play chess, you need to review how you play the game because if you don't review it, you'll never really get better. Like even if you're squatting, right? You want to videotape yourself squatting to watch your form and stuff like that. So I think any way you can apply that in your life, you're going to be successful, and you got to do it.
Yeah,
What it is.
So and someone asked what do you guys think about ENTP women? I, I'm sure Mercer has the most to say about this. They're
Um,
they're trouble.
I
They
think
can be.
I think with ENTP women, it's I got to talk from my perspective because it's a little different. I think they're consistently looking for new stimuli all the time, and that can be a little obnoxious for me. I think that could be a little draining as well. I do think it depends on the role because ENTP women aren't like ENTP men a lot of times because ENTP men are the kings of Dunning Kruger effect. I do think ENTP women will actually listen to you and do the due diligence on like a lot of stuff. But I do think they do take the the risk of like taking a little piece of information and thinking they're fucking experts or some shit
Yeah.
because they hate like reading or like that type of thing. That could be a problem. I do think that like they crave new experiences. So if you're a boring person, that could be trouble there. And I think I'm a little bit more on the boring side. So I think that's a problem with them. I think you got to be really ready to debate pretty much anything and everything, right? Everything's going to be a debate. I think, that they got like these weird things, like they'll be having like snakes and shit in their houses and shit. That kind of freaks me out, man. They have all these weird like niches of things that they do. So you got to be down with that if you're gonna be dating them. And like I said,
I
I
think.
do think men tend to bend to their women a lot of times because men just sue for peace. It's just how it works, man.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah.
mean, just being a man, you just got to sacrifice. So I do think that you got to take on some of her hobbies, and a lot of her hobbies. You got to be okay with her like not finishing any of her shit or not seeing any of that through.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
They're not.
Trying to
They're
avoid
not.
SI, trying to avoid the work. Um,
Mhm.
you know, um,
They're not. Not much different than the commenters we have here. They're a bunch of contumelious characters. Um, honestly, they're
shout
ENTP
out.
women.
yeah. They're not too much different than the commenters here. I mean, except that one. But some of you guys are pretty obnoxious.
I,
I
what
I
you,
find that I don't know why it is, but like the ENTP men, I think most of them can pass for like they don't really stand out. Some of them have a more like edgy look to them. I find a lot of these. I don't want to say majority, but quite a few ENTP women they have a very edgy look to them. A lot of them
Yeah.
get involved in that goth shit. Like
Yeah,
they'll
they
fucking
do.
dye their hair black or dye their hair blue and fucking get all these piercings and tattoos and shit. Like
hmm
you see a girl who has that kind of look to her, I would say she's probably an ENTP. Um, so yeah, they could be very, I think, very just very, very out there. And like Mercer's saying, they want to experience things. I think you see them, in
always doing
some
something.
cases they want to do drugs and go to
Yeah.
raves and like
I
fucking
do
really,
enjoy them.
really
I
live life to
enjoy.
the fullest.
Listen,
Mhm.
I enjoy ENTP women. The men, not so much. I have no tolerance, patience. I know, and I hardly. Most of them I want nothing to do with. I'm not even gonna lie, but there's a couple exceptions. But for the most part, adios.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are really really pretty. I would admit that.
But ENTP
But some
women,
of yeah,
Mhm.
some of them,
yeah, they
but
can be.
they they're I think a I think they're a niche look though. You have to like that archetype.
There's
They're not
they have
like
they have a strange energy to them, like that's just attractive. It's not necessarily like that they're physically attractive. Some of them are, but it's they have like a certain, I don't know, like a certain mystique or like
Mhm.
that draws you to
Yeah,
them.
I think
like
if you're
Anne
gonna deal with,
Hathaway. I'm a big Anne Hathaway fan, so just get me out of
Well,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna deal with ENTP women, I think you gotta always realize about NE, right? That they need to choose you. You can't force them to choose you. And I think a lot of times men try to force women to
Hmm.
choose them. You gotta let them go do their fucking thing and then
yeah,
come back to you. Okay? Like randomly, they ain't seen you in 3 months. They gonna finally have figured out like I want to be with this person. Okay, you got to be okay with that shit, right? Also, like I think ENTPs need maximum freedom. That's
yeah,
their
uh
type,
huh,
being an extroverted, perceiving hero. They
Yeah,
need
yeah.
you can't beat them
maximum
over the
freedom.
head. You can't beat them over the head with a program and get on their ass because otherwise they're just gonna resent the shit out of you
Hmm
because they need freedom and unfortunately a lot of guys don't really understand what they're getting into when they're dealing with an ENTP woman.
hmm
Um, if you think INTJs are a mess, the ENTPs it's amplified. It goes it as seductive as they are.
Yeah, I think it's and also if you're trying to court them, like I said, you gotta let them choose you. You can't force it in any type of way.
No.
If you try to force it, then they'll just run away even harder. So like,
Yeah.
if your ego can't take the hit of like them like giving you like a great experience, 'cause that's what they usually do. They'll give you a fucking great experience. You'll be thinking like, oh my god, like I really like this girl, and then you won't hear from her for
Then she
3 weeks.
ghosts you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you won't hear from for
That's
three
what
weeks.
happened. That's happened quite a few times.
So
It's
like you got to understand that perspective. All over the place, they really struggling to get their life in order. So you got to deal with that as well. So you may have to do the SI for them. Like I think a lot of times people don't realize if you really want to make somebody happy, just do the inferior function for them. Right? They'll fucking love you. Like they'll love you if you make their life easier by doing the SI for them or making it more apparent for them. So I think that's something you got to look at. But yeah, guys, it's been absolutely fun. But we got 32 people on here. Join our Discord. I think it's going to be the best MBTI community or typology. I think in general we got to come up with a name for what we do because I think we do way more than just MBTI. Right, we follow a function model, we follow linear bands, we use empiricism. We do so much shit at this point that we have to come up with a name for it because I'm sick of being compared to like just people who use the four-letter dichotomy system. It's kind of annoying,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with like the socionics people. They want to say, "Oh, my system's better than yours." It's like, bro, you're talking about four-letter MBTI, bro. Like,
Or subconscious, or be influenced by subconscious focused users in particular.
I would also think that a lot of people in general in types, they spread other people's misinformation. So you got to
Yeah.
be very careful with that as
Uh
well.
huh.
And you
They
gotta be, and
and
you
it
gotta
doesn't.
be wary of the subconscious focused people out there.
And I think like you got to be careful to that degree. Like people just say other people's talking points that are fucking wrong, right? And if you say it around me, I'm gonna bust your ass because it's fucking wrong. So yeah, I think that's very important to realize that it doesn't matter if somebody's a TI user or a TE user, they will spread other people's misinformation for them. Very
Nope,
important to realize that.
100%.
And on that note, Thomas, you got anything?
Just just because somebody's asking name some ENTP women. We typed Anne Hathaway like a week or two ago. Aubrey Plaza is an ENTP woman. I think Avril Lavigne is. We haven't typed Brittany Murphy, but I believe Brittany Murphy's an ENTP. I love Brittany Murphy.
The
Um,
Olympians.
The one who
oh,
plays
oh
the
yeah,
one.
there's Alyssa
Oh,
Liu, and then there's
Yeah.
Eileen Gu, the
Yeah.
Olympians. There's quite a few out there. Some they don't get into acting as much as the men, but some of the actors, Winona Ryder, yeah, Winona Ryder's an ENTP.
yeah, what's that
Um,
one
Uh-huh.
girl who plays Cersei Lannister? She's an ENTP as well.
what's that from?
The Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones?
She
Yeah.
plays Cersei Lannister. She's an
So
ENTP as
they're
well.
definitely out there. I mean, yeah, I mean some of them are really pretty, like the Eileen Gu chick, Winona Ryder when she was younger, Brittany Murphy. That yeah, some of them are really attractive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Lena Headey. Lena
oh yeah,
Headey.
Emma Stone as well. Emma Stone, I believe she's ENTP.
Lena Headey. She
Yeah.
is a ENTP. Okay. So yeah. All right. Well. All right, guys. It was fun. What do you guys think about Uchiha Madara? He's INTJ, bro. 3W4. Okay.
Mm.
INTJ 3. Okay. He's on Naruto. All right, guys. We're getting out of here. It's 2 hours. It was fun.
All right. Thank you for showing up.
And don't
Thank
be
you
in your
guys for all you guys have
subconscious.
done. Um,
Don't listen to the subconscious influencers.
Wada Wada needs to go pancake his ass back to Reddit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's
Yeah.
currently banned. He's currently
I
banned
think I'm
by
about
certain
to
people
ban.
from
I
them.
think. Listen, I'm about to ban this guy. I swear to God.
I mean, E. Kevin's banned.
This is E Kevin's twin right here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shaylee. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Um,
Odd. Hmm.
yeah, tell your husband I said
Sod's the
hi.
goat.
We love you
Sod's the
guys.
goat.
We'll see you guys in the fucking Discord. Join the Discord, and I think we do have some typings today, so we'll see you guys in a little bit.
All
All
right.
right, peace out.
Peace.